Imagine this. You discover a 3,000-year-old Egyptian mummy, and inside that mummy, scientists find something that's normally associated with smoking. So, does that mean ancient Egyptians were already smoking 3,000 years ago? Were pharaohs getting high all day? Well, the answer is not what you think. When we think about ancient Egypt, we think about pyramids, mummies, pharaohs, and mysterious rituals. But smoking? Today, it's easy to associate Egypt with cigarettes and shisha culture. And that raises an interesting question. Did ancient Egyptians smoke? If they did, where did they even get the smoking material? And if they didn't, why are there stories about smoking related substances and nicotine being found in some mummies? First, there's one very important fact. Smoking was not a practice native to ancient Egypt. Smoking originated in the Americas. After European contact with the Americas, smoking spread to other parts of the world, and evidence suggests that smoking reached Egypt around the late 16th or early 17th century. Some historical evidence places smoking in Egypt around 1600 to 1603 CE. Now think about that timeline. The Great Pyramid of Giza is around 4,500 years old, and smoking arrived in Egypt thousands of years later. So if someone says ancient Egyptians smoked every day, history immediately asks one big question. Where did they get the smoking material? And this is where the story gets interesting. Some researchers have discussed reports of nicotine or smoking related substances being found in Egyptian mummified remains. And when people heard about this, a shocking theory emerged. Wait, did ancient Egyptians actually smoke? If that were true, it would solve one of history's biggest mysteries. But finding something inside a mummy does not automatically prove that the person smoked. Mummies remained exposed to their environment for thousands of years. Resins, plants, oils, preservatives, and other materials could also have been used during the mummification process. And archaeological samples can also be affected by contamination. So finding nicotine or a smoking related chemical is not direct proof of smoking. But here's another fascinating twist. Ancient Egyptians did burn different plants and substances, but burning something and smoking are two completely different things. Incense was burned during religious ceremonies, temples were filled with fragrant smoke. And for ancient Egyptians, smoke had religious and symbolic importance. So imagine this: an Egyptian temple, a dark room, hieroglyphs covering the walls, and incense smoke filling the air. For them, this wasn't a recreational habit like modern smoking. It was part of their religious rituals. There was smoke, but there was no smoking. So when did Egypt actually start smoking? Smoking traveled from the Americas to Europe and eventually reached the Middle East and Egypt by the late 16th century. Historical evidence places smoking in Egypt around 1600 CE. And after that, smoking gradually became more popular, which means not during the age of the pharaohs, but thousands of years later. Interestingly, some of the early evidence of smoking in Egypt is connected to the Ottoman period. Clay, smoking pipes have also been found as archaeological evidence from later historical periods. So the next time you see an image of a pharaoh holding something that looks like a cigarette, don't believe it right away. Something that looks ancient doesn't automatically mean it's from ancient Egyptian history. So, did ancient Egyptians really smoke? The answer is not according to the reliable historical evidence we have. They definitely used smoke. They burned incense. They had incredibly sophisticated rituals. But the smoking habit associated with Egypt today came thousands of years after the pharaohs. And that's what makes history so fascinating. Sometimes the biggest mystery isn't what did ancient Egyptians do? It's what do we think they did? So if someone tells you ancient Egyptians were smoking thousands of years ago, you now know exactly what question to ask. Where's the evidence? And if you want more unbelievable ancient Egyptian mysteries, subscribe, because the next mystery might be even stranger.